Hey expats and travelers, I'm Josh.
And I'm Kalie.
And we're the channel Expats Everywhere, your favorite channel for all things travel and expat life, especially here in Portugal.
That's right. Today we have a mind-blowing revelation to share with you. We recently spoke with a company that helps people navigate through the immigration process, and they dropped a bombshell on us, so brace yourselves.
Can you believe this? A whopping 70% of their clients had to switch their visa types during their planning process. We're talking about major visa shakeups here.
So if you're planning to move to Portugal, or if you know someone who is, you need to stick around. The government has made some rapid and unexpected changes to its immigration policies, and it's affecting people like you in a big way.
Back when we applied for our visa to move to Portugal, it was like stumbling upon a hidden gem. The country had a more relaxed immigration process compared to other European destinations. But guess what? The secret is out, and the Portuguese government is shaking things up.
They definitely are. The cat is out of the bag, and now we're here to guide you through these twists and turns. We know how crucial it is to stay informed and be aware of these visa changes and new requirements.
Now, don't just panic yet. If you're already here in Portugal on a specific visa, it doesn't mean that you'll be forced to change at your next residency appointment. But here's the deal. If you arrive before 2023 and you're not aware of these changes, you might be unintentionally giving your loved ones some bad advice on how they can move to Portugal like you.
That's right, the landscape has shifted. The good news is that we're here to keep you updated and informed. So let's dive into the nitty-gritty of how the D8 visa is affecting so many aspiring residents of Portugal.
Yep, and to get you some more details about these changes, I've interviewed Gonzalo. He was able to shed some light on this situation.
The new D8 visa is often referred to as the D8 digital nomad visa or remote worker visa. So the first question is, how does the D8 differ from the other remote working visas that are available?
We have on the one hand the pure digital nomad visa, so a 12-month visa, where you are not looking, or the main objective here is not to obtain a Portuguese residency permit, to apply for citizenship. It's basically meant for nomads who are here 6 months up to a year. And then we have the D8, let's say the visa for the remote workers, for people who are looking to stay in Portugal. So after obtaining the visa, you will have an interview with SEF, where the visa will be converted into a 2-year residency permit. So in that case, we do have, on the one hand, temporary stay visa, on the other, a temporary residency visa.
Now that does sound like a great option for expats working remotely who want to stay in Portugal long term. But we know that a big draw of the D7 visa is the possibility of citizenship. So can you still become a citizen if you use the D8?
It does have a path to citizenship as long as we apply for the residency visa. So we have the temporary stay visa, 12-month visa, does not qualify for residency unless after the 12 months you actually go to SEF and request a specific document where you can prove that you've been in Portugal for these 12 months. If you do want to qualify for the residency or for citizenship after the 5th year, you would need to apply for the temporary residency visa. So in this case, it's always best to apply from abroad, enter Portugal legally within those 4 months of the temporary stay visa, and then convert the visa into a temporary residency permit. It will be issued for 2 years, 1 renewal, 3 years, after which you can apply for permanent residency or for citizenship.
Okay, so now that we have laid out the main function of the D8, you may be wondering, what is the difference between the classic D7 and this new D8 visa?
Active income, so that's the biggest change. The government has launched the new immigration law where it acknowledges that you can come to Portugal having active income earned abroad. Until now, as we know, it was meant for the D7 purely for passive income. However, we would say that just the year before COVID, we saw the first cases where Portugal was accepting active income, so through employment contract or through freelancing activity. Always income sourced abroad, let's say. In this case, now they have acknowledged, they have accepted the active income. It's a reality. We all know so many of us living in Portugal with some kind of earnings abroad. In this case, not royalties, not dividends, not rentals, not pensions, but from your professional activity. Employment contract, freelancing activity, so purely active income.
Basically, the D8 visa takes into account the remote earnings that expats may have coming in and provides a residency option for people moving to Portugal and keeping their digital jobs elsewhere.
So what exactly are the active income requirements for the D8 visa then, and who qualifies for this new category?
So now people who qualify for this visa are the people who have the income earned abroad through their professional activity. So we're talking about active income from an employment contract, from a freelancing activity, and you would qualify as long as you meet the minimum income requirements. So we're talking about this point in time, 3,040 euros per month. We would need to prove at least 3 months in bank statements or with employment contracts or with service provision agreements, always with clients based abroad in this case. And as long as you can prove that you can continue rendering your services or your professional duties remotely from Portugal, you would qualify for it.
Now that we've gone through a bit of the basics of what the D8 visa actually is and who it is for, we should probably tell you a little bit about how it is being implemented and go over some of the larger effects of this immigration legislation.
After a very rocky initial rollout process in November of 2022, all consulates are now equipped to handle the D8 visa procedure, and over 200 visas were issued before February 2023, and with many more in progress. We've actually seen reports that a little under 1,000 have currently been processed.
Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. At the beginning, it was a bit of a disaster during those 2 months initially, I would say. But now, I mean, consulates have synced. Everything's going fine. Requirements are basically the same. And we do expect it to be one of the most important pieces of legislation regarding immigration within the next 10 years.
Another noteworthy change in this new legislation is the improvement of the family reunification process, which has been a little bit of a tricky spot with the D7 visas up until now.
People with the D7 visas have really struggled to get appointments and residencies for their spouses and children, but hopefully these new measures should help combat that.
What's happening now is that the D6 visas are being issued at the same time as the main applicant. So when you apply for a digital nomad visa, for a digital nomad residency permit, temporary residency permit, your family can have a visa issued at the same time, and most important, the appointment with SEF at the same time, or within the same weeks, let's say. So basically, you would all obtain a residency permit at the same time with the renewal, and we wouldn't have this terrible situation which is happening now, where due to the backlog of SEF and no appointments being available, we have people in Portugal that have been waiting for the residency permit.
It may be a bit frustrating for some future expats to adjust to a slightly different visa process, but during my interview with Gonzalo, he stressed just how influential this change would be and laid out some of the reasons why the Portuguese government have implemented it.
Having the numbers to know how many people are in Portugal with working for employers abroad, understanding the exact type of taxes, which is always important, or how to tax the people that are staying in Portugal for over 12 months is important. And I mean, Portugal has still a lot of room to grow. And I believe that bringing this type of foreign and highly qualified and skilled professionals, that I believe that people that come to Portugal with income earned abroad eventually end up falling in love with Portugal and will probably start their own business here, register as freelancers in Portugal, start invoicing from here, contribute more to the Portuguese society and culture, which is what we see. I mean, it's a country that welcomes everyone. I believe it's like the Canada of Europe. This is my personal opinion here.
In addition to these visa changes being made, the Portuguese government is working to restructure the CEF, or Border and Immigration Control, in order to make it more efficient.
It seems that CEF will be more into the bureaucratic part and the residency permit issuing, and they will leave more the proper border controls and customs to police officials, GNR, Republican National Guard. So yes, we believe that CEF will have more time to face their challenges and their backlogs, and yes, and giving appointments.
Well, now that is good news. Hopefully they can implement these changes soon. It will definitely be a relief to have easier access to CEF during the visa process.
I'm not going to hold my breath, though. The D8 visa is turning heads and making waves among those who dream of calling Portugal their home.
Remember, it's crucial to stay informed and seek professional advice to navigate through these changes successfully. We have a D7, D8, and Living in Portugal course to check out in the description below. The first 10 people to use the code on the screen will get 20% off any of those courses. Now, let's get moving.
Bye.